Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation to bring you the post game from Blood Angels versus World Eaters with the final score Blood Angels 66 to a World Eater 61. The original post game had some technical difficulties in it, and that was namely me. We'll just leave it at that. I had some technical difficulties there that just kind of made it, we were unable to actually do it at that point. I talked with Lane. We've discussed it afterwards, so I'm just going to give you guys the recap of that game and some of the things that Lane and I discussed afterwards, just so we can keep on that flow, because I know there are some people who enjoy seeing and hearing what we have to say about this. Just unfortunately, this week has been, time has been our enemy this week because of just with work, New Year's and everything. So it's all done. New Year's, all the holidays are done. Oh my gosh, the holidays are done. I'm so happy the holidays are done. So now we'll be going back to our regularly scheduled programming. Needless to say, World Eaters 61 to the Blood Angels 66. 5-point loss. Very, very close game. I say 5-point loss being the World Eater player here. But let's go over the detachments a little bit and talk about some of the highlights and the positives into it. Start with the Blood Angels. They were the winners, so we'll start off with them. This was the Angelic Host detachment, which allowed Lane to select 2 jump pack units and take them off the field, very Grey Knight, very Hypercrypt style at the end of the opponent's turn, and then place them back down. Obviously, being the fact that they have the Deep Strike keyword, they'd be able to come in via Deep Strike. Lane does have access to a strat to be able to drop within 6 inches, as well as the fact that the Intercessors, I'm probably butchering their names, the Plasma Intercessors, or that they are able to do that anyways. The originally was 3 inches, got bumped back to 6 with the nerf, but they're still very, very able to drop very, very close. Typically, with that 18-inch range, you don't have to. You just need to be within 18. Oath of Moment, as well as Twin Linked, made them extremely potent in being able to eliminate things. Very, very strong, very tough to deal with. Lane mentioned going full tilt, which is all plasma, which is something we may see here in the future if he gives that a second try. The Sanguinary Guard were very powerful, as every time I eliminate a unit, that another one of my units, if anytime I destroy a unit, one of my units now is marked that the Sanguinary Guard could just rip to shreds. So it was multifaceted. It was, do I eliminate the Sanguinary Guard fast to prevent this stratagem from caking onto my army and just making it all my units just be able to be shred by the Sanguinary Guard with rerolling hits and wounds into them? Or do I take out the Intercessors and try to prevent Lane from having a range game? So that was very difficult. With the detachment being able to pick up those units and just drop them back down, he was able to land in areas and could focus fire on certain things. For example, landing in a corner to take out a Rhino, which in some scenarios may not be good. Granted, they're jump infantry and they can move around the field quickly, but you still want them in kind of a little bit of a better position. That doesn't matter when you can pick them back up and go somewhere else. So that was very, very strong, very powerful to the build. Sanguinary Guard just able to do a ton of damage, a lot of attacks, and just hit really hard. But the big MVP from this army was the -1 to hit. The -1 to hit was a massive wall for my World Eater army to have to try to get through. It was so difficult, and shrugged off so many attacks. One place where I am pseudo strong is being able to reroll wounds, especially since I took a big brick of 8-bound. I have that reroll wound mechanic that's built into my army. Unfortunately, that didn't help when you don't have enough hits to reroll wounds off of, and that Sanguinary Guard made it very, very tough. Armor of Contempt was a huge benefit. Go with the Sanguinary Guard, going into AP1 units, dropping them down to AP0. So that was very tough. And all around, the army had just a lot of speed. Lane was able to push into many areas. And because of jump infantry, he was able to also do like secondaries throughout the game in many locations and be there very quickly with 5-man little squads and stuff like that. Not to mention the fact that because his entire army was jump, any unit could be picked up off the table and dropped back down. So it was a very powerful build, or a very strong build. Yes, it may seem kind of memey because of the fact that it was like 18 Intercessors, 18 Sanguinary Guard. But at the same time, too, those are very, very powerful elements. Lane had discussed some stuff that he'd be moving forward in the future and trying, he said, dropping the bolters and just going full bore into the plasma to give that a try. He wasn't too discouraged from the list, but he's definitely said he would like to go into some more scoring units, just have a little bit more scoring potential out there. Not 100% sure if just going the full bore 18 of Intercessor and 18 Sanguinary Guard was the way to go, because it meant that some other tactics he couldn't use, but it was very strong and very powerful for what it was and how it hit. Going into combat armies, -1 to hit was very tough, but going into some shooting armies, would it have the same effect? Because the -1 to hit in the Sanguinary Guard is only for the fight phase. So it definitely has some room for improvement. I would say just it was very strong, just all like strong, actually physically strong. Like it was physically able to punch into whatever it wanted and do damage throughout the game. So kudos to Lane. Congrats on his victory. Over into the World Eaters. The World Eaters, now this is one that I can speak more on myself because obviously I played the army. World Eaters was very interesting with Vessels of Wrath detachment, which I'm going to do a more comprehensive view on this detachment in a little bit. The Vessels of Wrath was very interesting. It felt very strong. I was able to, I felt like I was really controlling the Blessings of Khorne throughout the entire game. The strats were not really there, but I also feel like it was kind of just because of the targets and what I was going into versus just in that aspect of it. Lane played into the Blood Surge stratagem very well in preventing me to use it and really preventing me to utilize it well, which I think is going to be a common trend. It's one of those strats that it's like not necessarily one that you're going to use all the time, but it's a boogeyman. You have a command point, you have this strat, it's going to make your opponent think if they even want to shoot at things because of what could occur with the Blood Surge. The Demon Princes were awesome. They were okay. The Demon Prince, the walking one was awesome. The one with wings, I never really could get him going, but that's because Lane didn't give me the targets when I wanted him to. I kind of had him in a staged position where he was able to pull out and swing and just go. And that never really happened, but I had to go after area denial in the center. So that kind of limited me to what I was trying to use him for. And then I ended up falling into his trap of eliminating his character and then almost losing the Demon Prince in the first round, fell back and just lost him later on. But, that's how that's going to go. The other walking Demon Prince, though, was an absolute shredder. The boosted damage was huge. He can't say enough good things about him. I really like the Berserkers out of this attachment, having those big units. I 50-50 and in wondering, as Lane and I were discussing, it was like the Berserkers really seemed to be the MVP and really pull their weight. But it was the Berserker unit with Karn. And that says a lot because Karn was the one who was with the unit, which gives them the reroll ones to hit wound buff, which makes them much stronger. On top of the fact that we had done damage with other units already and eliminated some resources, which then kind of puts us at a point that it's like, okay, when you start eliminating things that are a threat to something like a 10-man Berserker squad, the 10-man Berserker squad becomes much more powerful, especially with the speed, advance, and charge, etc. Because there isn't as many things to threaten it. There was things eliminated. The board was spread out more. I was able to push, and the Berserkers were able to hit, remove things. They moved further. They moved closer to Lane's deployment zone and taking that far objective that was outside of it and be able to eliminate everything. They actually went past that objective, eliminating everything over there and not really being in a game state position where Lane wanted to address them, even though they were a threat. And then when they move back into center, now they're picking up units and now they're cleaning up the shaft. They're able to hit things and tie up another thing and eliminate another thing. And they're just able to just move and just clear these things out because so many other things have done the work to clear the way for them to do what they did. I definitely would like to see this detachment run more, like run it with some more rhinos. I think that would be interesting. And I do want to run this detachment again. This is a very strong detachment. It's tough to say if this is stronger than like that +1 strength, +1 attack. If it is very, very nice. Also being able to get that other blessing just off destroying something in combat is cool. But the reliability behind that blessing, I don't know. I'd have to say the Vessel's Wrath is probably the stronger of the two detachments that are the option for the for World Eaters right now. That's my opinion, at least. So that's about it. That was our post game from it. Kind of a coverage into that and the whole aspect of it. I feel like as far as things that would have played differently, I can say that Lane was talking about it. He said that he wasn't sure if maybe he should have pushed into center earlier and tried to draw me out. But all in all, he got the win. So he feels like he played it right. And you can't disagree when you get the W. For me, I feel like I probably shouldn't have pushed the Berserkers out as far early. The ones in the Rhino. I think it's hard to say because it's like you're going to lose something, especially when you have units that can pick up off the table and have the firepower that Lane put out there. It's tough to say. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have pushed this unit out further. But if you don't put those units out there, you don't leave them out there, you don't move them, something else gets hit and you lose something else. And it's hard to say. It's hard to say because that is the plasma that they put down is very strong. So maybe I should have been more condensed and tried to branch out as we went along with the game. But who's to say? It's really tough on that aspect to really kind of gauge how that would have went. Probably held the Demon Prince back a little too long. And I think also I probably held back my Jackals on my home field objective a little too long. I probably could have moved them out there and started moving towards an objective to try to swing the secondaries back in my favor. Since it was only a 5-point game, I kind of needed that extra little push there. So that's about it. That kind of wraps it up for this. Next week, what do we got? I'm going to be playing Necrons, and I believe I'm playing into Death Watch. You guys will have to watch and wait and see. I think that's the way we're going. I think it's going to be Necrons into Death Watch again. Again, I say that, but I think I'm going to be running the new detachment one more time. I want to try something else. Actually, I want to do the Silent Super King. A lot of talk about him on the internet on just how indestructible he is now. I see it. I see a lot of buffs for him. So I'm curious. I'd like to throw him out there. He's not typically my forefront play style for 10th edition right now. I ran him a lot in 9th. But I do see that he is. I do see how resilient he can be and how just durable. So I'm curious to see if his durability can push him into a new level that I might feel differently about it. So it's definitely worth a try. See him on the channel. It's probably going to be a Voltron style list, a Voltron list where it's everything kind of combines together to make a very synergistic unit. Where everything kind of works together in that sense and bases off each other's buffs. So that's kind of where I'm going to be trying to build into, I feel like, for that. So, but we'll have to watch and wait and see. All right, guys. As always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.